Welcome to Akron Buzz, everyone. I'm your host, Sarah, and today I get to talk to Cary Duckett. How are you, Cary?
Hey, doing well, thank you.
Yeah, and today we're going to focus on Cary being the executive director of the IWC, which stands for the International Welcome Center. Just so everyone knows, he's also the pastor of Grace Bible Church as well. But let's go to the International Welcome Center and talk a little bit about the history for people who don't even know what it is.
Yeah, so the International Welcome Center has only been around for about 3 years. And so I moved to the Akron area about 7 years ago.
Okay.
In moving here and vetting the city, I found out that Akron was a refugee city.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly what that was when I found out about it, but I just kind of put that in my pocket and hung on to that. After being here several years, Grace Bible Church was wanting to expand a little bit. Our elders decided that we did not want to build a building that was going to remain empty 6 days a week.
Sure.
So we began to pray, okay, what could we do to help our area? And that's when that information about Akron being a refugee city came back to my mind, and I began to research into that and look into what that was, and discovered that there's a big need here in Akron for refugees who resettled here from around the world, and just them becoming acclimated to living here in Akron, to thriving here, starting over here, becoming productive citizens and contributing to the community, both in a secular way and a faith-based way, a Christian way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the refugees that come here do know the Lord. And so that's how I got started. So like I said, we've been in existence for about 3 years.
Okay. Yeah, I have heard about International Welcome Center a little bit through, I was involved with World Relief, and I know some of the things that you guys do, but for people who might not know, can you just explain some of the things that you might offer to a refugee family coming over?
So the International Welcome Center focuses on 3 areas of ministry.
Okay.
One is transportation, helping them just get from A to B. That's a big struggle for refugees.
Huge thing.
The second thing that we work with, we're very much a volunteer organization. We rely a lot on our volunteers. And we encourage our volunteers to become friends with refugees. Yeah. So when they become their friend,
have people over.
Yeah, exactly, and become their advocate. So as they become friends, hopefully they can help them with a lot of things, helping them with learning how to drive, how to use a microwave, what is a shower curtain, just all the things that we take for granted because we've grown up here in the U.S. We know all this common daily stuff that we do, but a refugee moving here from another country who potentially has been in a refugee camp for a decade or longer, they're not even used to running water.
Right, who may not know the language, so there's
many
the
of
language
them do
barrier.
not.
Right.
So that's one thing we do with our volunteers is we allow them, they receive a little training on learning how to teach conversational English.
Yeah.
And so we don't really hold an English class. Our volunteers go to their houses and they spend time with them and really just trying to develop a friendship and become their friend / advocate, helping with English and all these other things that I've mentioned.
Yeah, I actually did that for eight weeks with World Vision. Okay. I worked with the Uzbeki family, and a lot of it was also just, let's try to help you learn like how to get to the grocery store, how to, the conversational English, but then also becoming friends.
Yeah. Now there's one thing that we do that's quite different that makes the International Welcome Center a little unique.
Okay.
Apart from those 2 things, the International Welcome Center has been federally accredited to help refugees with their legal status.
Oh, great.
So what we're able to do, we went through an accreditation process through the Department of Justice. And we have an individual, a guy on staff now that went through this accreditation process, and he has now been accredited to basically serve as a legal aid or assistant to refugees in maintaining their green cards, getting visas, pursuing their citizenship.
Yeah.
So basically he can do everything an immigration lawyer can do except represent them in court.
Okay.
And he can't do that because he's not a lawyer.
Right.
But he can do all this other stuff.
But that's great and super necessary.
Yeah. We're the only faith-based, federally accredited ministry in Summit County.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's fantastic and really good to know.
Yeah.
You know, so that we can, if we come across someone who has
Absolutely.
that need, we can direct them your way. So what do you do specifically?
What do I do as the
Yes,
executive
as
director?
the executive director,
I
kind of
go out
oversee everything.
Well, I try.
Try.
I rely heavily on the volunteers. They do most of the heavy
Mm-hmm.
lifting. As the executive director, I'm the PR guy.
Okay.
I'm just the face. I go out and I try to raise the money.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do.
It's needed.
I have we have several friends. My wife and I, we've had the opportunity to meet many refugees, and so they're our friends now. So I work in that capacity as far as like helping them when I can with the things that they're dealing with. But mostly for the International Welcome Center, I'm just the guy out there trying to
Let people
shake the
know.
bushes and tell people that we're here and what we're doing, and looking for those people who might want to invest in it.
Right. So on that note, how can someone help if they're interested in getting involved with you guys?
Yeah. So the best way to do that is obviously you can go to our website. It's theiwc.org.
Okay.
That's one way you can easily get connected, see what's going on at the International Welcome Center. We have a fundraiser coming up October the 13th. It's actually at the Hall of Fame this year, so we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, cool venue.
Yeah, it is. It's a great venue. Anthony Munoz is going to be our guest speaker, and then we have Samantha Baiki. You may know Samantha. I don't know. If you don't, you should. Samantha,
okay.
That's who you should have her next. Samantha is a wonderful person. She's originally from the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Okay.
And she's resettled here.
Wonderful,
and,
yeah.
She's going to be speaking. And that's October the 13th at there. So anyone that would like to get a ticket and come be a part of that, that would be great too.
Wonderful. And they can get a ticket on your website. Is that a good place to go to do that?
Absolutely.
And are you still looking for any kind of sponsorships for that or anything like that?
Yes, we have different levels of corporate sponsorship that are still available, and that's on the website also. They can go there and find all that information.
Great. Why do you love what you do? Why are you passionate about refugees, about the International Welcome Center? And why should other people care about this?
No, that's a great question. I thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I used to live in Sacramento, California before living in Akron. And in Sacramento, this is where I had my first encounter with refugees. And so it was with a Ukrainian congregation that started using our facility. I was pastoring a church there, and they started using our facility to meet in the afternoons. And their pastor and I became friends. And through talking to him and listening to him share some of the struggles that his church family were going through, some of these struggles are just unique to refugees.
Right.
It's not really happening to the rest of us. Because we've been here for so long, we've grown up here, we live here. And so that's where I got exposed to what was going on. At the time, I was still, frankly, pretty ignorant about the process of how someone becomes a refugee. It was pretty eye-opening for me to learn the difference between a refugee and an immigrant, and then an asylum seeker. Because when you watch the news, they're kind of all lumped together. They're all one group, and that's just not how it really works in the real world.
Right, absolutely.
And so once I discovered that refugees are invited to the United States, they don't choose to come here. They get invited to come, and then they don't choose what city they live in. They're told where they're going to live. And then they are given a job. They don't choose their job. And then along with all the other cultural barriers that come with that, and knowing what they've lost to get here, hearing their stories. Refugees are people in our world who have lost so much.
Gone through stuff.
So
for
much
sure,
that we just see in movies, maybe. Maybe we'll see that in a movie.
Right.
But we have no idea the real toll that it takes on a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the years it takes to rebuild.
Oh, for sure. A lot of people don't even realize how long the process is, how long someone could be in a refugee camp before they come.
It's amazing what goes on. And so in finding all of that out, and then coming to Akron and really digging into what it means to be a refugee city, and then digging into, well, how does someone become a refugee? You know, the Lord just began to say, Cary, I'm big on going on mission trips, and I believe people ought to go as often as they can. But here in Akron, the world's coming to us.
Right.
You never have to leave the city of Akron to minister to the world.
Right.
Because it's here.
Sure.
And so it just, all of those things coming together inside my heart, inside my mind, and the Lord just saying, you can do this here. And so Grace Bible Church, where I pastor, they've embraced this. I'm so proud to pastor Grace Bible Church because they just listened to the voice of the Lord. I took them through passages in the Scripture. There are so many refugees in the Bible.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
People that we call heroes
Yeah.
of faith, they were refugees.
Right.
Jesus and his family was a refugee
Right.
at one point in his life.
Yeah.
And so just people were unaware of that. And as I began to share that, and they began to see that, hey, what I hear on national media news is not exactly the whole picture.
Right.
That's not everything that's happening. And so all of that just combined together. And so I just, you know, I feel like there's an obligation on my part because God's just called me to do it. To be of a service to these people. And I learned so much from them.
Yeah.
I'm different because of them. You know, you kind of go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to help them and I'm going
Right.
to. And it hasn't been that way. It's been the other way around. They've helped me.
Usually the way it is, right?
And just, allow me to see things that I wouldn't normally
Well,
see.
that's how it is when I heard you say a lot, like, just people befriending other people.
Yeah.
And if we are truly just going into it with, hey, I'm going to become friends with these people and have a relationship, then the hope is that it's give and take, and you can help them
Absolutely.
with maybe some regular everyday things that they don't know, and they're going to help you learn more about their culture and
I know that through
other
doing
things.
this, I mean, God cares about these people.
Absolutely.
I know He cares about all people. Okay, I know my theology, but God deeply cares about refugees. A couple of years ago, I had an opportunity to go to Nairobi, Kenya, for another ministry, and there was an individual that we had become friends with here, and he found out that I was going to Kenya, and he had a cousin in Kenya. One of the refugees here had a cousin in Kenya. And so a couple of days before I was to leave to go to Kenya, he came to me with an iPhone. And he said, I want you to take this iPhone to my cousin. He's in Nairobi. And I looked at him and I said, there's 8 million people in Nairobi, you know. And I said, I was trying really hard to discourage him. I just was saying, there's no way I'm going to be able to find your cousin. Literally, all he had was his name and a telephone number on a piece of paper.
Okay.
And he said, just call him. When you get there, just call him. So finally, I gave in and I said, okay, fine.
I'll try. Right.
So, you know, I get to Nairobi, Kenya. I'm working with a local pastor there. And one day I pull out the phone and the piece of paper and I tell this local pastor what I'm doing. And he said, well, let's call the number. And so he called it, and lo and behold, my friend's cousin was 1 kilometer from where we were.
Oh my gosh.
And that day he walked to where we were, got the phone, called his cousin here.
Wow.
And I stood there and watched them weep and cry because they had not spoken on the phone for a couple of years since he had left and come to the United States.
That's amazing.
So I walked away from that saying, okay, Lord, you got me.
Yep.
I know you care about these people.
Yeah.
And if I'll just be willing to help, I'll get to see some amazing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that's what's been happening. And it happens right here in Akron. You don't have to go to Nairobi.
Exactly.
To do that.
It does happen right here. I think 2 things that I kind of pulled out of what you're saying that people can do is educate themselves about refugees, about people coming in from other countries, and really find out good,
What's
solid, truthful information. And then also just befriending people changes your world. It really does. I know it's changed my world, befriending different kinds of people and realizing, like, we're not any better than anyone else.
Right.
We're all, you know, on the same playing field for sure. So As people want to check you guys out more, I know we mentioned it before, but
Yeah.
let's mention the website again if you have any social media.
Sure.
And we'll just direct people there.
Yeah. So the website again is theiwc.org.
Great.
We do have a Facebook page. It's the
Okay.
International Welcome Center. You can find that on Facebook. And yeah, Grace Bible Church, if that's easier to remember.
There's a link there,
There's
too.
a link there that gets you to
Perfect.
the IWC.
And they
for
can
sure.
find all the information about the fundraiser on the website as
Yep.
well.
Yep, it's all there.
Come and support you guys there too.
That would be
And
good.
probably find out more information about the organization,
Yep.
I'm sure, that night.
That night. Yeah, that night's going to be a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah, what can people expect? Let's do that real quick.
Okay, sure. So that evening, we're going to have some international greeters there.
Great.
Some people that are not from Akron, but
Mm-hmm.
now live in Akron. So they'll greet folks. And then we have Anthony Munoz is speaking. This Samantha Baiki is also speaking. And then that night, when it's over with, everyone who attended, they get a private tour of the NFL Hall of Fame. So that's kind of
cool.
a neat
Yeah,
little
that's kind of a fun
experience.
little extra.
So the whole the program itself will be over with in an hour and 15 minutes. There's a meal, dessert, all these presentations, and then the rest of the evening, I think we're there.
Get to
you
do
can
a
stay
tour.
till 10 o'clock.
That's
if
great.
you want to. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
So,
Well, thank you so much for being with me here
Thank
today.
you for this opportunity. Thank
Yeah,
you for,
absolutely.
For calling and asking to learn about the IWC.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today as well. As always, we love being back in the studio here on Akron Buzz. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also check out our brand new Roku channel. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.